Directly above the Hollywood sign, it's ChrenBen's Friend Trends with Aaron Crennan and Ben Lepley, the working model of a healthy friendship.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on ChrenBen's Friend Trends. My name's Aaron Crennan, and I'm alongside my best friend, Ben Lepley. How you doing, Ben?
Aaron, I'm great, and it's so great to see your face and hear your voice yet again.
Oh, that's great to hear. And we're alongside another friend of ours, Michael Legum. How you doing, Michael?
I'm great.
Actually, Michael, it may surprise you that I haven't always lived in Los Angeles. Is that shocking to you?
That is shocking, considering your lovely tan and everything.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Wait, roll your sleeve up for him.
It's not too bad.
It's not. The farmer's tan isn't horrible. I've got a pretty bad one right now.
Just rolling up a sleeve.
Those are some
whiter and whiter the higher the sleeve goes.
Those are some dangerous-looking freckles too, Ben.
Yeah, I should probably go to a dermatologist.
Yeah.
I have real quick. I have this red dot over one of my eyes. It's on
Your
my
right eye.
Yeah, my right eye. Thank you. And it's on my eyelid, and sometimes people see it and they think it's bleeding, like I've cut it or something.
Yeah.
And I've always been curious about what it is, and I've had doctors tell me before, but I can't ever remember what they said because I think subconsciously it's dangerous and I want to forget it. So I can't actually really tell you what it is. I think it might be like a cluster of like tissue or a cluster of like blood vessel endings or something. But I got it originally when I was in 6th grade.
Oh, you got it. You weren't born with it?
I wasn't, no. It formed like in 5th or 6th grade.
Did someone give it to you?
No. It just formed. And it was very, very tiny when it first formed.
Okay. Did someone, like, it was a gift? Were you not, was that not the 3rd day of Hanukkah or something?
Did you...
I've gotten many skin tags for Hanukkah. It's amazing.
You get a little lit candle every year tattooed onto your back. Yeah. I actually don't know enough about it to even say. Like, is it nine candles?
Wait, what are you?
Eight crazy nights, baby.
8 days.
8 days, right. I'm sorry.
But there are 9 total candles from last day because of the main candle.
The main candle, yeah, that lights all the other candles. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Good to know. Good for my brain.
And now we're learning stuff.
So this thing on my eyelid, a couple years ago, I went to a general dermatologist and was like, what can I do about this? And he said, well, you have to go to an ocular surgeon. And what they'll do is they'll put a shot in your eye, like a needle, to numb your eyeball and everything around it. And so already I was like, no, thank you. And then he said, that person will take a metal shield and slide it under your eyelid, and then they will point a laser at your eyelid and shoot this thing until it goes away. And he's like, and it might come back. They're just gonna shrink it with a laser. And I'm thinking, like, honey, I shrunk the kid's laser, and he's like, no, heat. Like,
so this
is like a fire laser to burn it off.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, this is exactly like the Goldfinger bed that the Bond is tied to. And I just imagined it like, and it's also like. He's like, you wouldn't be sedated. I'm like, but what if I like jerk my head really quickly? If it's like strong enough to burn this like bump off my eyelid, isn't it gonna just like put a like fissure in my forehead? Like, so I've been putting it off every year, but it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like, you know, relatively speaking, it's still not like overpowering. But I'm wondering, like, by the time I'm 50 years old, is it gonna be a Quasimodo-esque like giant,
like a giant strawberry?
Yeah, like a red golf ball like weighing my eyelid down. It's like closed all the time.
You still don't know which eye it's on. Like, I don't even know where.
I'm still calling Aaron on our hologram phones to ask which eye it's over.
Which eye is it over again?
Oh, thanks, bud. Thanks. All right, got it. Man, I don't want to do this, but I'm kind of terrified not to do it. And the only thing that makes me think I'll go through with it is the thought of maybe being able to have an eye patch, like a medical eye patch afterwards that I have to wear, so that I can go into, you know, important places and have them be like, take that eye patch off. This isn't a costume party. And I'll say, I'm sorry. Take my note out from the surgeon. This is required.
It's 3 years later and still very wrinkly, the note. It's required. I was like, sir, this is probably no longer required.
Oh, what if I do it before Avengers 2 next summer and then I can't see it in 3D with you guys?
Oh, no.
Have you ever done that where you put 3D glasses on in the movie theater and you keep closing one eye and opening it to see it go from 3D to 2D?
It's like red light, green light. Yeah.
I did that throughout Godzilla. I was just blinking one eye.
Wait, Godzilla's in 3D?
Yeah, you didn't see it in 3D?
No, I saw it in regular D. Normal? I don't know. I even asked. We went to the Lemley or Lamel or whatever it's called on Lancashire.
Oh, the Lepley.
Yeah, the Lepley Theater. And I guess I said to them, I was like, oh, I'm surprised this isn't in 3D. And he goes, it's not in 3D. But I guess he meant it's not here in 3D. That makes more sense. Because I was shocked that it wasn't in 3D.
Yeah.
Godzilla is very cute, by the way.
Yes, he's got a cute little face.
Yeah, and he's got like cankles. Like
He does have cankles.
They're very cute.
And he's got like a belly. Like I don't know. He wasn't as intimidating as I thought he'd be. But I guess he's also, spoiler alert, the hero of the film. So. Him in the military. Did you realize, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, real quick sidebar, that bomb, we've all seen it, right? That bomb that is set to go off, they can't get that metal flap open for him to disable it, and they give up on it so easily. I was thinking about it the other day in the shower, just thinking of things, and I thought about that movie, and I was like, wait a minute. I was replaying that scene in my head, and I was like, that metal tray that covers the countdown clock is just jammed, and they have weapons and crowbars and a bunch of people like able to work together to pull it up.
Yeah, if anything, the army should have trained them. Be like, all right, guys, we'll use our leverage. Right. We'll all get our hands underneath and pry it open.
Exactly.
Like one guy was like, too stuck.
It's if I'm remembering the scene correctly, it is one guy who like tries to open and he's like, fuck this, it's stuck, let's carry it to the beach, and that's it. Like, I don't mean to get us too far off topic.
Yeah, no.
Speaking of medical things like that eye, we've realized that we've all have some fun dental stories.
Dental related.
Rental, yes, rental related.
Rental related.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Aaron, I've heard yours before, but it's been so long I don't remember it, so I'm looking very forward to hearing it again with all the bloody details.
Yes, so this actually happened during an Iowa-Penn State football game at the University of Iowa. And I think it was October 1st. Not that it really matters, except for... no, it was October 2nd.
Oh, good.
No, but I moved out to L.A. Is where I was going with this earlier.
Okay.
I moved out to L.A. on the 4th. So I flew out after this story happened, which isn't so important, but there's like one little detail that kind of... So this was essentially...
Guys, tuck that Kren bit away.
Yeah. And remember that I flew out to L.A. just days later.
Call back when appropriate.
So how it all started was, since it was my last week, we all decided to go to an Iowa game. And like Iowa games are notorious for like this is the school that just got like rated #1 for party school. Like I think they're very proud of that more than anything else. And the football team's been good, but not great lately. So, like, they really pride themselves on, like, drinking pretty well beforehand. And there's always this thing where the games in Iowa City are at 11. And there's, like, two reasons for that. One, I think it's kind of tradition, but 11 in the morning, that is. The other is because they know when the games are later, the kids have all day to drink. And it's, like, way too dangerous. But like they've started like implementing these night games. The other thing is they don't have lights at the stadium, so they have to bring in lights.
No,
it's kind of this weird thing. But so this day for the Penn State game, because it was like there were like two ranked teams, or at least pretty good teams. They brought in the lights, and the game was going to be at 4:30. So that meant that like kids who usually wake up at 6 and go to the games at 11 after like waking up at 6 to start drinking. Now we're waking up at like a normal hour of like 10 and then drinking until like 4:30 and like it just not being a little more ridiculous. And so hijinks were like high everywhere. Like there was always like fights and stuff on these games, and like the fact that the games ended while it was dark out was never good because now it's these drunk people trying to get home crazily. And so how we started was well, we had all like, this is after college, so none of us really knew that many people at Iowa anymore. So we met up with our friends, and there was like a big group of us, like 15, 20 people who were like staying at our friend's house who lived in town. And usually we just like party with friends, but this time we had to like find people to party with and like meet new people. And one of the girls we were with was dating a guy that was on the Iowa track team. And they had like a track house. So we were like, oh, let's go to the track house and party because it's like a huge thing. They had like a bunch of kegs, they had food, and like we had like an inn already, so we're like, let's go. So we all like we picked up everything and like we were just carrying like a 30-pack of beer and like we walked to this place, which is like 2 miles away. It's like ridiculously far to carry that heavy of a weight on each arm. And so we got there and like already like there was this like the first thing out of the gate, if I remember correctly, was someone bet one person that they wouldn't have sex with the other person. Like it was like this guy and girl.
Oh, it sounds like a fun rom-com setup.
Exactly. And then they instantly just went upstairs and they had not met before. And then they came down.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It was ridiculous. So like that's like this is like 11:30 in the morning. Like,
Holy shit.
Like this is like things are already starting.
Man, out the gate.
And so
I bet you won't fuck me. I bet I will. Fuck. All right. One drink hasn't been poured.
Right. So now, and like, I really wanted to make this day count because like, I love Iowa football games so much, like, and drinking beforehand.
And you've got to come to lame LA a couple days
it's
later.
So boring. And I only have the one friend instead of the so many friends I was leaving behind. And,
Think of all the friends you could have had on this podcast to co-host. You and 10 other people.
And it's just a real kangaroo fest. So we go so we're at this party and then like people are getting drunk and people start leaving to go other places and like the game's like hours away still and like we always like wanted to get to a bar because we didn't have tickets to the game but we wanted to go to a bar and watch it. And there was at one point there was like a brother sister team and like someone like made fun of the sister and then like someone questioned like who we were there with, and like that girl had left with her boyfriend, so now we're like strangers in this track house, and it's like sort of how a fraternity might like look upon like, why are you here?
Oh, the track house is like an exclusive.
Yeah, it's like well, you should have been invited because like now you're drinking our
confused.
beer. Yeah. So it's kind of like that.
Okay.
And
it's like a hip LA club.
So then like the brother is like yelling exactly like the parallels here between hip LA club and
you really left behind one thing for the same thing out here.
I know why.
In a lot of ways.
It's just crazy that I would ever do such a thing. And so there was like a little bit of a skirmish. Nothing like no punches were thrown, but like it was like it got heated, and then finally like the sister was like, "Oh, voices were raised." That was the one thing that over all the sex that was happening upstairs, you could hear the voices that were raised.
Hey, let's keep this random fuck going. Sounds like things are getting dicey downstairs.
So we end up like leaving early, but like it was fine because we were going to a bar to like drink more and like watch more of the game or actually watch the game. And what was interesting is like because of that, like we left on like tensions were very high because we got like a Iowa City like taxi, which was like a shitty, like it's not like a normal taxi, it's like a shitty van, and like we're pretty sure all the Iowa City taxis, if you offer them marijuana, you'll just get a ride for free. Like it's like that type of deal there. Nice. And so we all like pile into this van and we go to like just like a mile away. But like because there's so much like game day traffic, it takes forever. And like everyone's like recounting the story that happened earlier. And so we're all in the van. We get dropped off at this bar. I actually have no idea what bar it was. It really doesn't matter. But there are dicks there. And so I was pretty drunk. And like we'd say there, like we watched the game. I was like ordering drinks, and like I guess my friends started to get a little worried about me. And like at one point, I remember forgetting. I don't remember being there, and then like I snapped myself out of it, and just thought to myself that I better go home. And like the game had ended, but because we had started drinking so early, it was only like 8:30 or like 9 maybe. So it was a pretty early night still. And I go to the bartender to close out my tab. And he looks for like 2 seconds and he's like, "I don't have your tab." And I was like, "Oh, that's strange." And I thought about it and I looked at the table to see if like a waitress had put it down. I asked the waitress, then I asked the bartender again.
What a
I was
mystery.
like, "No, my name's Aaron Crennan." It's like I had like a confetti card or like it was probably like a sports team
Hang
like
on.
card.
Let's explain confetti card real quick.
Well, because no one can understand my last name, I always had a card that stood out, like a debit card. So I was like, "It's the confetti one," because when I say Crennan, they're like, "Okay."
But it's was it a photo of confetti?
Essentially, I mean, it was more like a tie-dyed card.
Okay.
I think I'm sure they're still floating around
I
somewhere.
mean, I kind of remember.
I was kind of picturing those little like circular like sprinkles that you put on.
Yeah, like a
confetti
confetti cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
It's a
similar.
close-up of confetti cake.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that sounds good.
So
Sounds like a tasty card.
So I had
Yum.
no, sorry. So I had that. They were looking for that card, and the guy's like, "No, man, we don't have it." Mm-hmm. And I go, "But I bought drinks from you, right?" And he goes, "Yes." And I go, "So you were telling me the card that I gave you, you no longer have?" And he's like, "I don't know what to tell you, man. We don't have it anymore." And I was like, "Did you take the card? Like, are you lying to me?" Because he could visually see that I was drunk. Like, there was no hiding that.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, this is bullshit." Then he's like, "Just sit down." And I was like, "Jesus." So I tell my friends, I was like, "What's happening?" They're like, "You better go." And so, but I go one more time, and I was like, "Hey, man, you stole my card. Give it back."
Oh, Cren.
And then he kicked me out. And I was like, now I'm on the streets of Iowa City, which is like, it's like a ped mall. It's not the streets at all. It's a very fun, like lively and a fun little area. But like a lot of people are around, and like I was so mad. I actually went up to a police officer, as drunk as I was, and I tried to keep my composure, and I said, yeah, the gentleman there stole my debit card. And he goes, "The bartender stole your credit card?" And I was like, "Yeah, he had it." And I asked to close my tab, and he didn't have it any longer.
I wanted to
I was like, there's only one explanation, is that he still has it, because I don't have it. And then the cop's like, "You've been drinking though. You might have forgotten where you put it." I was like, well then, I guess, but like where would that have been? Like I don't know. I can't imagine drunk Aaron losing something that he values so much.
Impossible.
So then I was like, well, now that I know it's stolen, I have to cancel it. Mm-hmm. And that was the only. So I had my phone, and it was like, it wasn't pre-smartphone at all, but it was definitely before like a lot of people had iPhones, or like the Galaxies weren't out yet. Yeah. So it was kind of hard. Like the internet on my phone was like real shit-tastic.
Okay. And
so I couldn't like look on the internet and then make a call simultaneously. Luckily, I found a phone, and I grabbed it. And so I kind of stole a phone in the story.
So if someone steals your card, you steal a phone. It's justified, right?
I really just borrowed it for the time. But at the moment, I was like, I'm stealing this phone. And oh no! I know what it was. I thought I stole the phone. No, this is really. It turns out the phone was our friend's phone. But it was in my pocket. She told me to hang on to it.
Oh, well, that's not stealing.
Yeah, so using
the phone you've been carrying.
But I didn't know that she gave it to me, because it was when I was like drunk. She's like, "Hang on to this." I don't know. Don't ask me. I had her phone, and I thought I had stolen it.
Okay.
So
drunkenly, you thought you forgotten it was given to you, and you thought it was a stolen phone.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I'm using her phone. Her name's Cheryl. So I'm using Cheryl's phone to make phone calls. To like U.S. Bank to cancel my card, and it's a real rigmarole.
And you're drunk.
And I'm drunk. So he's like, "Security questions." I was like, "Oh God!" And he's like, "You're gonna have some trouble with these, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes." And it literally I had to go through like 4 of them before I could like get through. And I was like, "Yes!" And so we successfully canceled the card. And then I had to go through this thing where he's like, "Where would you like it sent?" And I said, "Well, I'm moving to California in 2 days. Can you send it there?" And he's like, "No, you have to have it sent to a home address." And I was like, "Yeah, but I won't live here any longer." He's like, "What's your home address in LA?" And I go, "I don't live there yet." And that was the first of many nightmares. And so after like we finally settled on like he was going to send it to my mom's house, and then she was going to send it to me. Yeah. So like, but the main thing was I was pissed because I was going to have my card
when you moved to California.
When I moved to California, when I was on the airplane, when I wanted to use I don't know, I couldn't even get money out because I only had the one debit card.
No, yeah.
And like that was a Saturday, so the Sunday was a Sunday, and like you can't go to the bank obviously.
Right.
And then Monday I left at like 8 a.m. So there was like no time when the bank was open from when I was and when I was leaving.
Thanks for laying that Cren bit earlier. That actually panned out nicely.
Oh yeah,
you're really setting up all the tension here.
Oh yeah, and you'll find Cheryl comes in a little later too. So now I'm like debit cardless, like in a city I don't live in, and my friends are all in the bar that I can't get into. And they don't know I've been kicked out. Mm-hmm. And I have this girl's phone, and I actually figure out it's this girl's phone. But the thing is, like, I started getting texts on it later on, and I didn't know why, but I was getting like a lot of texts on it. And I sort of felt it vibrating, but I was like, it's not my phone, and I'm not going to worry about it. So the thing about Cheryl is, like, she lives in Chicago, I guess, so she was also out of town. So we were all staying at this friend's place. And so anyways, how it turns out is card is canceled, a new one on the way going to my mom's place. And I finally convinced my friends, who finally got drunk enough to come out, because I told them I'd been kicked out. And then we just decided to go back to our friend's place. And so we get back. Luckily, we had the keys. We get in, and we more or less fall asleep, and it's like 10:40. So around 3:30 in the morning, we wake up to like a calamity outside. Like, people are trying to get in. We don't really know what's happening. But apparently the brother and sister group who lived in the house, they both walked back to the bar. And that is no short feat. That's like 3 miles, like in the drunken darkness. And they weren't walking together because they were still mad at each other from the fight that had happened earlier.
So they were walking across the street from each other the whole time.
Oh no! Well, they didn't realize, but they were apparently like only 100 yards away and didn't realize it was the other person, type of thing. So, but then our other friend Kelly comes in, and she's like, "Oh no, maybe it's Kelly or Jill. It really doesn't matter." But she comes in like crazy, like, "Oh my God, guys, the night I've had." And it's like, "What happened?" And she's like, "Cheryl's in the hospital." And we're like, "What?" And then it all started to come together, because while we were at the bar, apparently Cheryl and Jill got fed up with like me being drunk and everyone else being really drunk. And they were like, "Let's go have our own fun at another bar." So they left. And when she left, she closed my debit card.
Oh my God.
And she took it with her. And she told me, apparently, but I was drunk enough I didn't remember.
Oh.
So I was like, "Oh, fuck." And I was like, "So can I have my debit card back?" I asked Kelly at the door. She's like, "No." And when they left, apparently, she, like, instantly, they were like going across the street. She tripped and, like, not drunk at all. Like, she hadn't been drinking hardly at all, because she knew she had to wake up to go back to Chicago the next day. And she, like, fell on the ground in, like, such a manner that her, like, teeth, like her 2 front teeth, hit the cement and popped out of her mouth wholly.
Oh my God.
Full on 2 front teeth out on the ground.
Like 2 chiclets.
Blood everywhere.
Oh my God.
It was a sight. And of course we're hearing about this at like 3:30 in the morning, being like, "What?" And so what had happened was, like, blood everywhere. And like, luckily Iowa City has like a great dental program, and like it's like the and like the campus is like a medical facility itself.
I guess I don't know why that made me laugh. There's something funny about it. There were great dentists in training everywhere who ran up to assist her.
Right. So they took her to the hospital, and like the dentist was on call, but like at this point when this happened, it was like 12 or like 10 or 11. Like, I don't know what time. It was late. Yeah. Too late for the dentist. So before the dentist got there, like, there was a whole, well, I'll get to the sort of important part. Now, the thing is, what happened to Cheryl 10 years before her teeth had fallen out this night is that a very similar thing had happened to her. And that was when she was hanging out with her dad, and she fell. And like when she was like 13 or 14, her 2 front teeth popped out on cement in the same manner. And they
Same day?
No, it was 10 years later.
Okay. Because I was going to say that would be amazing if it was like an anniversary.
Oh, no, yeah, it's the same day.
Decade to the date.
So this had happened once to her. And what her dad did, seeing like this like tween on the ground, he just put the teeth back in. He just popped them in? He just popped them back in.
That's a very dad thing to do.
And to that day...
Looks fine to me.
To that day, there had never been any problems. Never any problems. Like, they never went to a dentist afterward.
What?
They just, like, regrew around the gums, and they were fine.
Like, they never saw that in X-rays, which you get to get, like, teeth cleaning?
But it's just like, they just, like, once they came out, they put them back in, and they grew back. Like,
oh, my God.
I guess. Guys, these are teeth. I don't understand. And so... with that memory in her head.
No.
So now she's on the ground in like a bloody pool.
No.
And she looks at Jill and picks up the teeth
Stop.
covered in blood. And she just goes, jam them back in. And Jill is like, no, what? And she knew the story. And she goes, no, you just got to jam them back in. And she's like, you know, like bloody and like, you know how blood makes you crazy?
Yeah.
But you know, he's like, she didn't know what was happening. She's like, jam them back in. And that's what she wanted because she knew that could work.
And you don't know, like, if one's the left one or one's the right one.
Oh,
like,
imagine that would be crazy if
they
you
were
put them in the wrong way.
Yeah, they were switched.
Oh, yeah,
Like, didn't fit quite right.
That would be crazy.
Or you could put them in backwards. Oh, stop.
So Jill won't do this.
No.
Jill won't do this. So they call the hospital. They call the hospital and they rush her to the hospital, and the dentist is on call, but they're like, she's losing too much blood too quickly. We need to get the teeth back in there. So they put the teeth back in. Dentist gets there. They switch them around left and right. They had already started to set, though. So he needed to just file them down. So now her two front teeth are reversed in her mouth, but they work because luckily they're close enough, I guess, but like they had to be filed down like afterwards. So now her two front teeth are backwards. Meanwhile, her mom had gotten these texts from Jill, who was with her, and her mom was crazily calling the phone that was in my pocket.
That you weren't answering.
That I wasn't answering.
No.
So like her mom has no idea what's happening. Starts to drive Chicago that second to Iowa City. It's like a 4-hour drive to pick up her daughter. So she's rushing. I'm answering the phone, and like they're in the hospital, and teeth are backwards, and it's madness. And then she starts telling me, and then like Kelly walks in and starts telling me this fucking tale, and I was like, so you have my debit card, right? And she goes, no, Cheryl still has that. It's like on its way to Chicago right now because her mom already picked her up.
It's a hopeless.
So I was like,
hopeless.
wait, she didn't even leave the. But she's like, well, you have her phone, and I was like, oh,
you get the card back when she gets her phone back, dick.
Right. So now basically that's essentially what happened. But is this like, so I come here and like there's this whole rigmarole of like just trying to use cash for everything and I didn't have any. It was just awful, and like the bank won't send it. It was just a real nightmare, guys. But I
kind of remember that because you stayed in my apartment when you first got out here. I'm remembering like the tail end of that now, like, or the aftermath of you trying to get the card and everything, and it was madness. But what a series of perfect, like, stormy coincidences,
right?
Like, jeez.
Yeah, it was and that was like, and I was so happy also in this very demented way that I was like, what a great story to tell people when I go to California. But then, of course, like I had to pay the woman because I had left my car out here in the Burbank Airport parking lot.
Oh, that's the best.
For 45 days.
Yeah.
It was like $497.
He had that same internship I had on Entertainment Tonight, and then you went back to Iowa for 45 days.
Yeah.
And you had left it parked in an extended parking place in the airport at the Burbank Airport for that length of time.
Yeah, so
it was the biggest bill I have ever heard of.
So when the woman was like, no, this can't be right. And I was like, I think it might be right. She goes, 45 days. And she's like, $495 or whatever. And I just pull out this wad of 20s that I had gotten earlier. God. And I should have been like, no, that can't be right. It should only be a day.
Oh, yeah, you could. Yeah.
I was so stupid. You know what the stupidest part was? This is how dumb I am. Before I left, I had all my stuff, all my belongings were left in that car, and I left the windows cracked a little bit. I don't know why, but I was like, I don't want it to get too hot in the car. Why would I care? But I was like, what an easy way for anyone to break in.
You had like an Xbox and stuff in there, right?
I was full on expecting. I was like, I would just sit up late at night thinking about my car in like this like desert heat. And just spiders and bees just living in there. And I was so surprised when I did not find a single bug in there.
Scorpions.
They're
cactus spiders.
So frightening.
Oh my God. That's what a life. What a life you've led.
Yeah, that's my tooth story is just nowhere near that.
Well, let's find out.
We'll be the judge.
You let us be the judge of that.
Well, let's just say that my circuitous route of a tooth story begins with a dentist and ends with an anal suppository.
I was hoping the word anal was in some sort of dentist, there's like an analist like that I was unaware of.
Yeah, they only have those in Baltimore, the analyst.
What if it also somehow
It's anal dentata. They take care of that.
It also took you to the track room. Like that's also the thing that connects all these stories. Oh, oddly enough, my tooth story has something to do with that exclusive bar in Iowa City, Iowa.
My left molar and my right bicuspid are actually in the track room in Iowa.
They're on the wall.
They're on the wall.
Legum's canines.
That's the prophylactic and the girls always use before the random sex that happens there.
Oh my God. We're tying this together so well. So I need to hear how you got from point A to point B on this.
Okay, well, this is a very short story, so I
Point
feel...
B being point butthole. Sorry, I'll let you keep talking.
Point A can start with anus as well. Let's take me to anus to butthole real quick.
We're going anus to butthole here. I don't know why I just did that. That sounded...
It's fun to hear it through the headphones. It is.
Yeah. I could just like sit here all day hearing my nasal Jew voice.
That's what we do.
Yeah, this is great. No wonder I told these guys earlier that every time I call customer service, they refer to me as ma'am, and now I realize, like, hearing myself.
Are you hearing it? I'm not hearing anything that would suggest female.
I hear like Patty and Selma.
Yeah. No. Yep.
Wait, hang on. Say something. I'm gonna close my eyes.
Say good jub.
Good jub, Ben.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. I still don't hear it.
Yeah, I think they think I'm like an 80-year-old, Jewish smoking Holocaust survivor or something. I can say Holocaust survivor.
You can. You can get away with it.
Yep.
It's yours to do with what you will.
Yep. It's a wonderful gift that you get for being hated by 1/4
and
of the
what a
population.
gift.
Yeah.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. So, anywho, dental story. This one, we're gonna go in the way back machine back to 1984.
Oh my God.
Baltimore, Maryland.
It's the year I was born.
Yeah.
I as well.
Wow, you were born in the year that jams were very popular and Quicksilver was just getting put on the map. This was also a day when dentists didn't really care about hygiene, and it's not like I went to like the frickin' like dentist from some mob movie where they're this is like a good like neighborhood dentist. But they just didn't have hygiene. They there was like blood everywhere, and they were just like, yeah, it's cool. It's just blood. It's red. Who cares? It tastes metallic. You'll be okay.
Do it like on trays and equipment on the floor.
On everything. Like the like machine. What's it, Mr. Sucky or
there was blood on that.
Mr. Thirsty. Well, no, it would like backwash. It would like take blood and then just like backwash it and squirt it out from like the previous patient.
Oh my God.
So,
now I understand the AIDS crisis from the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it's about.
AIDS did not start in a bathhouse. It started in a dentist's office.
Oh my God.
Started with Mr. Thirsty. Yeah.
The anal part of the story is actually really going to tie in nicely.
Yeah, seriously. I actually, when I was a little kid, I loved going to the dentist. I don't like now. I hate it. Like every tooth is like sensitive and like my gums are receding. Everything.
They never have good news.
Yeah, no. Especially out here, the dentists are crazy.
Yeah.
I always have like a mega cavity, even though I don't even see it. They're like, yeah, your tooth's rotting out. You could pass away from this.
I actually had a dentist tell me recently that they couldn't get all of it out, so they left a little of the cavity in there in hopes that it wouldn't come back. And I was like, well, that's exactly what will happen. I was like,
that's what cavities do.
Is this your racket? Is this your cavity racket? Like, we're going to leave a little bit of taste in there so the cavity can really grow in a nice little cocoon that we've created of like silver and other metals.
Just put a little sugar in there every day.
That'd be great. That's like somebody like. That's like if you go to like Firestone and they put like a small nail in one of your tires and they're like, we're just gonna leave this tiny nail in and hope that it doesn't blow the tire out. This podcast is also brought to you by Firestone tires. On the road, what's that snakish noise I hear underneath So there's blood all over this place.
Yeah.
Super unhygienic.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. The fact that you don't have AIDS is shocking to me, but I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
Well, you would have swallowed the blood. You wouldn't. It wouldn't have gone into your bloodstream necessarily.
Well, because they were so adept at not cutting your mouth. When they used giant hooks on your gums back then.
Also, even the Mr. Thirsty of the 80s, I feel like probably had like a razor edge.
Yeah.
It wasn't plastic. It was metal.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
No, yeah, totally sharp metal. So again, picture it, Baltimore, Maryland, 1984. And
I'm there.
Bloody dentist's office.
Yeah, dentist's office. There's like a giant plastic tooth in the entrance that actually opens up, and where you'd think there might be a cavity are toys and prizes.
Oh my
and
God.
so
that could be a really good like analogy for like what toys and prizes are. Like just cavities of children.
Yeah.
When they should be playing outside, guys, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay. I'll explain that one off mic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ben, what it is.
So very exciting time for me. The dentist puts like this mouth plate in to do the fluoride treatment, and it would taste like things like bubble gum.
Yeah, you get the flavor,
or maybe grape, or purple even.
That delicious purple flavor.
Yeah.
That cancer version of grape from all the grapish chemicals.
You had one of those the other weekend. You just got like a purple drink.
Yeah, that's right. We had lunch, and I got like it was a soda, and it was purple, and it didn't say grape on it. And as I drank it, I was like, this doesn't taste like grape.
It tastes like purple.
It's the purple soda.
So, anywho, so I go to the dentist. I had great oral hygiene back then. So, no.
I didn't have teeth back then.
Oh yeah.
Rub it in.
Yeah. Going to the 20th high school reunion next week.
Oh my God.
Makes me feel horrible about myself.
I will have you back. I want to hear how that goes.
Oh yeah. I'm sure we'll have lots of conversations about how it now takes us like 45 minutes to pee. So great experience. I got a prize. It was like one. I want to say it was one of those little like it was like a plastic cup with a stick and a ball, and you'd go like meh.
Yeah.
Oh sure, stick in a ball.
Yeah,
Cup in a ball.
yeah. Possible to catch, like just not really something that you could ever really do.
Totally.
So it was this great experience. Got a bubble gum that day, I believe. It's fantastic. The dentist had a big smile. He was like, "Mike, you did good today." Nice. And he told my mom, he's like, "Great teeth. You're doing a great job brushing." So fast forward 4 months later, I am in Florida visiting my grandparents with my parents, and I get there, we go to this nice dinner, and throw up. Not so good.
Yeah.
Not feeling well.
Could be the food.
Yeah, it could be the food. Feel off. My parents called the doctor back in Baltimore from Florida. And because I'm actually throwing up a lot at this point.
Oh.
And the doctor's like, yeah, Mike just has like an ulcer. You need to give him like Maalox and Ampogel like on the hour. So horrible stuff. Have you guys have had that like Maalox? I think it was like worse in the 80s. It was like extra thick.
Oh.
It's like rotten milk.
Oh yeah, I think I've had it once in my life, and it's horrible.
I don't think I've ever had it.
Oh, you should try it. Yeah.
It sounds great.
Does it soothe your stomach?
It was supposed to. If I had had an ulcer, it might have.
Wait, is it like milk of magnesia, but just grosser?
Well,
and more
I think milk
powerful?
of magnesia makes you poop.
Oh right.
But,
oh okay. Yeah. No, I've had something that tastes like milk, and I can't remember if it made my stomach feel better, or if it made me shit.
Yeah, this is terrible, and the whole time I'm just like barfing after every meal, and I'm I go to pee, and I'm like, well that's weird. Why is my pee like brownish orange? What did I drink today?
Oh my God.
Shouldn't have had my grandmother's scotch. And that continues, and the doctor is still insistent that it's just an ulcer. So, we're flying back, and, poor lady sitting next to me get like this lasagna on the plane. They used to actually have decent plane food in there.
I remember in the 80s, we flew a lot, and in the 80s, the dinners were never as bad as the comedians made them out to be.
Yeah.
I always really enjoyed them. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like a Stouffer lasagna.
Yeah, it's exactly. It was like Stouffer food, which isn't bad food.
Yeah.
It's a podcast.
And what do they really expect? I guess.
Yeah.
It's like full-on meals.
I mean, there's not a fucking galley in the airplane where they're chopping up ingredients.
I'd rather there not be an oven on the plane.
I'd rather have the food be microwave, like a microwaved meal, than the potential of an exploding oven or stovetop.
A gas oven,
a gas oven.
Yeah, let's just throw this on the gas range.
You can't smoke on the plane, but you can turn on the gas-powered stovetop.
Well, back then, when I was on that plane, you could smoke.
Oh, you're right.
Is your mind blown?
No, I remember. I remember those days. We may have been born that year, but we got to experience the age where you make memories for the first time within the next couple of years.
Do you ever get on planes now and see like ashtrays and think like, there's no way I'm making it across the Atlantic on this thing?
It's too expensive to take them out. They just those little metal flaps that you pop up with your finger. Yeah,
you know just how old the
that plane is fucking like a million years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So the lady sitting next to me, just gets a barfing kid the whole flight, which is terrible, and I feel bad about it to this day. And we finally get home, and I'm like barely holding in my vomit. We're taking a cab back to my house in the suburbs, which is like an hour drive. And my dad insists on stopping at 7-Eleven to get Häagen-Dazs because he needs his ice cream, even though his kid
son's
is
dying.
His son may be dying, but if he's going to get through it, he needs a pint or a quart of Häagen-Dazs chocolate chip ice cream. Thanks, Dad. And so finally get home, they like call the doctor, and it's like, if the Epigel and the Maalox isn't working, maybe you should just put a suppository in his anus, which I don't get, because like my parents had an anal suppository just like hanging out in the refrigerator,
ready to go.
Yeah.
Wait, where?
It's just that they kept them in the refrigerator. Like I saw them like pull this thing out of the refrigerator, like pop it out of like its bubble case.
Was it an egg? Are you sure? Why are they kept in the refrigerator?
Maybe they got it and you just don't remember them getting it. Like after the phone call for the doctor.
Well, but like they never left the house and it was cold. Like I felt I got like the York sensation in my ass when they like put it in there.
Oh my god.
And I don't know why. I don't know what the anal suppository does. First of all. How that was supposed to make my stomach feel better. Like, does it crawl up there and like spread the medicine?
I don't know.
I've gotten a shot in the ass and they're like, it helps it go faster. Like, so I wonder
it's a more direct route to the stomach.
In the anus.
I guess, but that doesn't make anything.
Shot.
Not in the anus, guys. In the buttocks.
Well, this was in my anus. They didn't just like smear it on my.
But it dissolves though, right? And then it gets it goes through the tissue wall.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. The blood-brain barrier.
Oh yeah, because it would have to go through the stomach to get dissolved instead of directly into the bloodline. Okay, that makes
like
sense.
those kids who like put like
vodka in their asshole.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Got it. Okay, but we're still not really addressing the real issue here. Was that this was ready to pop in the fridge?
Yeah, like seriously, like it's like right by like the butter, like. But why? Like I've never been to another household, or I don't think I've possessed an anal suppository.
I can assure you, I have not.
Yeah,
nor have I.
But it was just like they had one. They just had them ready to go.
That's the 80s, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so
it was way easier to score prescription drugs in the 80s, guys.
Yeah.
But over the counter without having to get a prescription slip. People were cooler back then.
So got the cold York sensation, peppermint patty, anal suppository, and I threw up some more actually. And so the next day they're like, maybe it's a good time to go to the doctor. So we go to the doctor the next day. I don't know how my parents didn't notice this, let alone like me, because the doctor like sees me. He's like, your son's like bright yellow. I'm pretty sure that he either has liver failure or hepatitis. How did no one notice that?
Well, you're in Florida, man. You got a great tan.
And you said when you got back it was dark, and the only thing the fridge was open, which is the only light source I'm imagining in this story.
Yeah, and in our house, that's all we had was the fridge light.
That was the 80s.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it. Norge. Old Norge. And so they did some blood tests. I had, and it actually turned out that it was an as of yet undiscovered strain of hepatitis.
Oh, shut up.
I swear to
That's
God.
crazy.
I swear to God. And they still, I've been.
So they could name it hepatitis L for Legum? Like they could name it after you?
You're patient zero.
I am patient zero with this. Thank God I was in third grade and, not spreading my seed as I was describing to Ben, like my little coughing, like,
Just
like spittle. Didn't have that. So yeah, they called it non-A, non-B, and I've gotten tested for everything else, and I don't have anything in my system anymore. It just like
weird.
Came and went. Yeah, but I almost died. I was being poisoned by my asthma medicine on top of having the hepatitis, and almost died.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
how are you still with us?
It's amazing. I was in third grade. I was quarantined to my bedroom for about 6 months, and the only person who would like interact with me is my mom. My dad would maybe like wave his hand across the room. He's like, "I'm not getting that shit from my son.
I gotta swing by 7-Eleven, pick up some Haagen-Dazs. I'll be right back.
I got ice cream to eat. Fuck him."
ice cream to put in the anal suppository directly.
Maybe that's what he was.
Maybe it was just a chocolate chip. Maybe he just like fished out a chocolate chip, and that's what they put in my ass. Like, yeah, Mike, it's a suppository. That's my dentist story. I went to the dentist, and because of their
shoddy equipment,
shoddy equipment, I got the as of yet undiscovered strain of hepatitis, and almost died. And I didn't, though.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you're here today to tell this story. Did you guys confront the dentist after, or sue or anything?
No.
Were they able to sort of categorically confirm?
No, they couldn't categorically confirm. It was more just, the only logical answer.
Yeah.
Like, short of the prostitutes that I used to see in third grade.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's weird you didn't bring that up until now, because it seems like they're much more likely to be the culprit than.
It was that cut I had on my penis that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
So that is its name now, right? And
no, they have no idea what the. Every time like a new strain comes up, they like test me for the antibodies, and they're like, nope. I was like terrified that I was going to come up with C and be like Pam Anderson, and I'd like never be able to have sex again. But I didn't. It's not in my system anymore.
Wait, wow! You said every time a new strain comes up, they test you for antibodies.
Yeah, to see if
who contacts you for that? The CDC? You get an email directly.
I get called from.
Do you have like a specialty beeper that like?
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. We need you, Michael.
The hepatitis beeper.
Oh man, I'm glad you didn't die. That's horrible.
Yeah.
My story isn't so much about what I'm trying to say here, the consequences of having a tooth removed. It's rather the process of trying to get it to happen. So I've always had one wisdom tooth in the back of my mouth. I was born with only one, which is it's so nice, because every time I go into the dentist and I get the x-rays, they're like, oh, you know what? You've only got one wisdom tooth, so it's going to be really nice when you turn 18. You got to get it out. The rest of your friends are going to have, 4 teeth popped out. You're going to have the one. And I think as a result, every time I'd go in, because they were so tickled by the fact that I only had one wisdom tooth, they didn't put any sense of urgency on doing anything about it. They were like, yeah, you get out when you want to.
Adorable.
Yes.
I don't know why I find one wisdom tooth to be so fucking
makes me such a dummy, because I'm such a dum-dum, because I only have one smart tooth. It is funny, because it's like I wasn't born with 0. It's like I didn't evolve. It's just like one, like a weird mutant with one tooth. It's like I used to think, actually, brief sidebar, when I was in elementary school, I used to think maybe I had actually evolved. I knew about evolution because of the X-Men, and I was like, maybe I've gotten to a point like where Wolverine can heal himself, where like I was born without these like ancillary teeth that
I want to see that character's books. Like, there's just a stack of 3 of them that like the author's like choking to get some out. He doesn't have all the wisdom teeth.
You know what I want to see? That character's villains, his rogues gallery that he has to tackle.
The Caviator. How will he get these teeth?
So yeah, just it was always very casual because it was like, man, Ben, great work having only one wisdom tooth. And my mom would always ask, I remember after these dentist appointments, she was like, shouldn't we do something about this? And I was like, shut up, Mom, because I didn't want to have to go under the knife and get my tooth taken out. And the dentist was just always like, oh yeah, no big deal. I guess if you get around to it, it's fine, but it's just one and it's not moving. So for years and years, I had this wisdom tooth in my gum, and I didn't do a damn thing about it. And I moved out to Los Angeles, and in my late 20s, I was working this job, and we were between. we were switching healthcare providers or health insurance, whatever. We were switching from Anthem or from HealthNet to Anthem. So they said, like you're going to just this one weekend, just notice you'll get an Anthem slip in the mail, and once you get that piece of mail, you're good to go. You're going to have HealthNet up until that point, so there's not going to be a point where you're not covered. I, of course, think nothing of this being incredibly irresponsible. So I'm at work, and my gum starts to really hurt, and it starts to feel really puffy, and I start poking my tongue around, and I do the self-diagnosis of, oh my God, that's where the wisdom tooth is. That's the point they always tapped with their little metal thing. I'm like, maybe it's finally, after all these years, starting to give me trouble.
It's ready to blossom.
Yeah, it's a late bloomer. And lo and behold, over the next couple of days, I kept poking with my tongue. It kept getting worse and worse. And eventually, I started to taste like fucking blood and stuff. And it was just like this, it got big. Like I could feel the gum line expanding. And I was like, well, this is it. Like this wisdom tooth has to come out. So I start swishing it, with salt water every day. And I start thinking about where I want to go. Who do I want to call? And there's this dentist that I had gone to the year before under the HealthNet plan that we had that I liked, and I figured after the weekend was over, I'd call him on Monday and we'd schedule something. Come Monday, I don't know what happened, but from Sunday night to Monday morning, it just was like 1,000 times worse. It just like ballooned so quickly. And it was like my gum was really thick at this point. It actually sort of was affecting the way I was talking a little bit, and I couldn't eat a thing. Even if I ate food on the other side of my mouth, the other side was so swollen that it still like hurt to like open and close the jaw. So it's like, I got to do something about this like right now.
You know what you could have done? Taken an anal suppository.
Oh, to get
put a hamburger in there. And just jammed it up your ass.
Just take a spoonful of chocolate chip Haagen-Dazs and get my sustenance by putting that up my asshole. So I called in sick that morning to work, drove to that dentist, show up. I'm like, I got a bad wisdom tooth. We got to do something about this. Give them my HealthNet insurance card. And they go, oh, your HealthNet is, it's not active. I'm like, well, you can't, and they're like, yeah, we can't see you. We can't help you. So I call the office. I'm like, where's the new insurance? I thought we were covered until the new insurance comes. And they're like, oh yeah, it's just it's a weird little quirk. It turns out
probably won't affect you. Just a weird quirk.
Yeah, it's a glitch in the system. Technically, it'll be fine. But the new insurance is coming. It just the health that ended a little too soon. I'm like, well, I have a wisdom tooth coming in right now. I need to get it taken out today. When is Anthem coming in? And they're like, we don't know. We estimate by the end of the week. So at this point, the dentist wasn't like, you can just, we can bill you straight up and we can figure out something later. They were like, you don't have insurance? Get out. Like they turned on me like a pack of dogs. Get out of my office. So I had to leave and drive all the way. I went back to work because I wanted to talk to somebody in person, and my jaw is throbbing, and I'm starting to think like, wait a minute, this is one of those situations that Aaron and I often find ourselves in that ends up being unnecessarily complicated. And the difference is that I actually have a medical issue that needs to get taken care of immediately. So long story short, this entire week I'm calling different insurance agents. I'm trying to like string stuff out along with HealthNet. It's a nightmare. Like Anthem's not coming through for some reason, but HealthNet it will have nothing to do with me. And it gets to a point where I should mention 4th of July weekend is coming up, holiday weekend. So I realize that if I don't get this done this week, I'm going to get to the holiday and I'm going to be like, 7-8 days out of not treating this thing as it swells up. In the meantime, I decide to go to an urgent care because I'm like, I can at least get antibiotics so that this infection doesn't kill me. Because at this point, my lymph node is swelling up underneath the gum that's swollen. So I go to this urgent care, leave work again to go do this, sitting in the waiting room. I've parked. This is a wonderful LA story. I've parked right outside, but it's in like a 1 hour max zone. But there's nobody in there. And I'm thinking to myself, it won't be a problem. They take me into out of the waiting room and into an actual observation room. And I sit in the observation room. 50 minutes goes by, 20, 30, 40. Eventually I'm like, and bear in mind, I'm at unbearable gum pain this entire time. And I finally go out. I'm like, hey, excuse me. I haven't been seen yet, and my car, I'm going to get ticketed. They're like, oh, we're really sorry, sir. Why don't you go out and move your car and come back in? We'll see you right away. Go back out, move my car, come back in. I get bumped to the bottom of the queue because I left the premises of this urgent care center. So I'm now at the bottom of the list.
Lesson learned, though, huh?
Yeah, don't take the ticket. Take the ticket. Wait for another hour, you guys. And then this old woman comes in. And she comes up to me and she goes, what seems to be the problem here? I'm like, I just, my gum, it hurts so bad. I think my wisdom tooth's coming in. I only have one. She doesn't care about any of this. She's like, oh, well, typically when there's teeth issues, people see the dentist. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. And I blow up. This she's like 60-something years old, probably a doctor about to retire. And I just start going off. I'm like, you've kept me here for 2 hours. I got up to the bottom of the list. Like, I need medicine. My gum is going to kill me because I don't have insurance, so I can't go have this oral surgery that I need. And like, I blow up at her. She's like, okay, I'm sorry. She puts her hand on my gum and starts pressing around my cheek, then down on the lymph node, puts this pressure on it, and it hurts really bad. And I'm like, ouch. She's like, oh, you've got a really strong jawline. You're a handsome man. Has anyone ever told you that? And I'm like, get your hand off of my face and write me a prescription for some antibiotics. So she gives me this like it's such a waste of time. This low dosage of some like pathetic do nothing antibiotic. Seriously, I shouldn't have even been there in the first place. I should have just been trying to find someone to take the tooth out. This was just a Band-Aid.
Could have gone to Mexico.
I could have. Could
have gone to Baltimore.
Baltimore would have hooked your shit up, man.
All these bloody, disgusting dental offices that are being shut down for hepatitis could have hooked me up with a discount. So at this point, really, really bad pain. I end up going to a different dentist that a friend refers because I hear they take HealthNet. And I'm like, maybe I can show them the HealthNet card and they won't like check. Of course they check and they're like, you don't have insurance. Get out of here. So I've been turned down by 2 dentists at this point. All of a sudden, 2 days before the holiday weekend, Thursday, I don't know the pain you guys have been imagining that I've described so far, multiply it by 5. It's
like rather than a light pinch, it's like a heavier pinch.
I mean, like, this is, I really don't know what I like. Have you ever been in so much pain? You're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I
started this thing where I start to remember, like, I'm unable to remember what normal feels like. Mm-hmm. And I start thinking, what if this is just forever?
Yeah.
And what if this is just how it's always been? And I didn't think about it till just now. And that's when, like, it's always when I have like a kind of, it's like always in my face area when there's like face pain. All like the surgeries I've had have been like in my nose or mouth. Like it's all. So that's about.
What if this is forever? That's what I was thinking too. And it was one of those things where it's like, I can't wait another day, let alone a holiday weekend. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to eat the cost. I'm just going to go out of pocket on this. I can't.
Eat the cost? I'd be careful. The mouth's okay.
The mouth's hurting. You don't want to chew anything. So I just get out my laptop and I pull up a list of like oral surgeons. I should also mention that I've been told by these dentists that a dentist can't take the wisdom tooth out because it's parallel. This one wisdom tooth is parallel to my gum.
But it's so adorable.
It's a teeny and sideways, so we can't take it out. We have to like open your gum up with a scalpel and take it out. So you need an oral surgeon. I Google oral surgeons Los Angeles and Thursday before the holiday weekend, and I just end up going down the list, cold calling oral surgeons. And this is kind of how the phone call goes. Hi, I'm in tremendous pain, and I was wondering if you could maybe see me. I don't have insurance. Everybody on the other line goes, I'm really sorry. We're booked a month out. And even if we could see you, it's a holiday weekend. The doctor's already out. He's out at the golf course. You know, he's getting ready for his 4th of July jamboree. And so, okay, I'm sorry. So I finally get this one office, and they're like, we think we can squeeze you in. Let us call the doctor. He is out on holiday, but it sounds like you're in bad shape. So maybe he can, come in and help you out. It's morning. So I'm like, oh, God, thank God. And it hurts so much. I put the phone away, but I leave it on, and I put my head down on the couch, and I just fall asleep for a while. And I wake up, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I check my phone. There are no calls. So I call that office back, and I'm like, I'm the guy who called this morning. Did you find out if you can take it? And they go, Sydney, did you call the doctor? We're going to put you on hold real quick. And as I'm on hold, my eyes start to just fill with tears because I know that they didn't call the doctor. They didn't check with the doctor, and they're just fucking with me right now. So like 30 seconds come back. Oh, yeah, he's unavailable. And so at this point, I start cold calling like a motherfucker because it's 4:30 and 4:30 on the Thursday before the holiday weekend. All these places are closed. Going down the list. Hello, I'm in tremendous pain. Nope, can't see you. Hello, I'm in tremendous pain. Nope, can't see you. Finally, I call this number, and at this point I should mention I have called 22 people. I've called 22 oral surgeon offices, and this woman goes, you already called us. We must have popped up on your list again. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you called us like 10 minutes ago. And I look at it, I'm like, fuck, like I'm calling the same people now. This list is getting so long and unwieldy. So eventually, sort of anticlimactically, I found an oral surgeon who was willing to swing in and do it. And it turned out he was the guy who took my girlfriend's wisdom teeth out. And it was number 30 on my list. I had called 29 fucking places, and all of them were like, nope, good luck. With like a mouth that couldn't even form words because I was in so much pain. So that was just like and not to throw it back to Des Moines yet again, as this podcast always does, but they would have come in a heartbeat. Like if you had called, like, it's, oh yeah, no problem, we'll be sure to take care of it.
Hepatitis free.
Yeah. All of our Mr. Suckers have been cleaned and disinfected. So it ended up working out. It was actually a great experience. Michael ended up picking me up and driving me home.
It was a terrifying. Ben was just like drooling into like
it was a Starbucks bag. Yeah,
it was like a feed bag.
We put the carrier handles over my ears. Yeah, and I just had drool and blood going.
And I see this wet spot at the bottom, and it's just like
it's pooling.
He's got a nice car, and it's weighing down.
Yeah, I see it. I'm like, please don't break before we.
Yeah, the levy.
And lyrics trying to distract me.
Yeah. Oh, you're you have an unbranded strain of hepatitis, I hear. Don't look at Ben. So it ended up working out. It was actually a wonderful experience. Like really, no swelling. A couple days, I was fine. Had a good holiday weekend, but they were able to squeak me in at like 8 a.m. on that Friday, and I was so lucky. And then the best part of the story is that the Anthem letter came on Monday. Congratulations, you have dental insurance with Anthem Blue Cross. Hooray! And it ended up paying for it retroactively, so it was
that's good.
It was a bunch of worrying for nothing.
Hey, maybe I'll get a letter that will retroactively pay for my parking bill at the Burbank Airport.
That's a nice Cren bit that you brought back around. Michael, do you have a Twitter or anything you'd like to plug before we take off?
Sure. At Michael Legum. I guess.
Don't say .com.
Yeah,
I think you're about to say
yeah,
.com.
I was. I'm not very adept at Twitter, but at Michael Legum.
Nice.
He's probably got some. If you, any Ravens fans out there, be sure to check out.
Yeah.
And
Cynical Ray Rice tweets, I'm sure.
excellent.
Oh, Ray.
You can also follow this podcast on Twitter at ChrenBen's, ChrenSBENS, or did I spell it wrong?
ChrenBen's.
Oh, right. I did it too quick. Also, you can follow Aaron at Krennen, ChrenEnen. And you can follow me at White Bathrobe, which is spelled like how you would spell, I have a white bathrobe in my chifforobe upstairs. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. And we will see ya next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.